The Socialist Equality Party rejects the decision by Judge Stephen Rhodes to place Detroit into bankruptcy. There is nothing legitimate about this decision. It only signifies the fact that the courts have joined the political conspiracy to throw the city into bankruptcy, rob pensioners of their livelihoods, and loot public assets, including the cultural treasures of the Detroit Institute of Art. Rhodes was forced to acknowledge the clear evidence that the bankruptcy had been planned well in advance and included deliberate deception and other illicit means. This did not matter. When the interests of the ruling class are involved, legality and constitutionality mean almost nothing. To expose this and mobilize opposition, the SEP is organizing a workers' inquiry into the attack on the DIA and the bankruptcy of Detroit. This will be held at Wayne State University on February 15th. While the reaction of tens of thousands of workers in Detroit has been shock, this view will soon turn to anger. We believe that these sentiments, however, must be infused with an understanding of what has happened, and on this basis, opposition must be organized. The bankruptcy is a turning point in the class relations in America, akin to the breaking of the air traffic controller strike in 1981. In an extraordinary conclusion, Rhodes has essentially determined that public employees do not have the right to pensions regardless of state constitutional protections. The ruling sets a precedent for the entire country. Indeed, within hours of the judge's decision, both chambers of the Illinois state legislature passed pension reform bills increasing the retirement age, reducing cost of living increases, and cutting other benefits. There are trillions of dollars in pension funds waiting to be gutted. The wealthy see these assets and they want them. The precedent set here will be extended to federal entitlements such as Medicare and Social Security. Under the guise that there is no money, nothing is off limits. The ruling paved the way for the sale of city assets to pay off the banks and investors who hold the city's debt. This morning, we read that plans to spin off the DIA, which would essentially privatize this public entity. One way or another, the ruling class is seeking to loot these treasures and shut off public access to the cultural soul of the Motor City. The workers' inquiry will uncover the political conspiracy behind these attacks. It will be a genuinely democratic forum, organized by the workers, of the workers, and for the workers of Detroit to counter the lies of the media and the political establishment. We urge all city workers, auto workers, service employees, retirees, the unemployed, professionals and students throughout the metropolitan Detroit area to come and testify about the real state of conditions in Detroit and the consequences that the cuts will have. The inquiry will uncover the following: the role of the Snyder administration, including State Treasurer Andy Dillon, in hiring the Jones Day law firm and using its roadmap to throw the city into bankruptcy in order to gut pensions. It will also reveal the anti-democratic character of the emergency manager law and how it was rammed through against the interest of Michigan voters. We'll examine the corporate and financial interests that stand to gain from Orr's adjustment plan. We'll examine who will benefit from the sell-off of public assets like the artwork of the DIA, including the Wall Street banks. We'll examine the bankruptcy beneficiaries such as billionaires Dan Gilbert, and Mike Ilitch, DT Energy, and other corporations who, far from being asked to sacrifice a single penny to help with the situation in Detroit, will in fact make a windfall from the impoverishment of working people in Detroit. We will examine the role of the unions, which agreed to massive concessions and joined the demand for the sell-off of artwork at the DIA. And finally, we will examine the Obama administration's role in supporting the bankruptcy and using it as a model to attack public employees throughout the country. We should be very clear. The Socialist Equality Party rejects the entire framework accepted by the two parties of big business and the unions. The powers that be claim that there is no money for the basic rights of the working class. Yet, corporations, including the auto industry, are at record highs. The stock market is soaring. The social inequality is now at historically unprecedented levels. I would also add that many of the same banks that are demanding cuts in pensions and the monetization of Detroit's assets were also bailed out by the government when they crashed the economy in 2008. Workers, pensioners, students, and youth of Detroit instinctively opposed the plans of war and the bankruptcy process. However, what is lacking is the vital information to counter the lies of the bankers and the political spokesmen. Workers want to know why this is being done and how we can defend our rights and our interests. For this purpose, we will hold the workers' inquiry. We call on all workers in Detroit and its metropolitan area to learn more about the inquiry. You can go to detroitinquiry.org. We urge you to become involved in this process and to organize delegations from your workplace and neighborhoods to make sure that they attend and testify at our hearing. Thank you.